Have you ever stretched your arms over your head and heard a sudden pop? Or maybe you've bent your knees and been met with a loud crack like stepping on dry twigs. That sound can be startling, even a little unsettling, especially if you don't know where it's coming from. But here's the thing, your body is full of strange noises, and most of them are completely normal. So why do our joints pop and crack? Is it a sign of something wrong, or just another weird quirk of being human? The most common explanation for those pops and cracks is something called cavitation. Inside every joint in your body, your knuckles, knees, shoulders, even your spine, there's a thick, slippery fluid called synovial fluid. Think of it like the oil in a car engine, keeping everything moving smoothly. When you stretch or twist a joint, you create a small gap between the bones, and that sudden space causes the pressure inside the joint to drop. Just like when you open a soda bottle and hear the fizz, the gases dissolved in the synovial fluid, mostly nitrogen, rush to form tiny bubbles. When those bubbles collapse, pop, that's the sound you hear. But here's the interesting part. Once a joint pops, it usually won't do it again right away. That's because the gases need time to dissolve back into the fluid. If you've ever tried cracking your knuckles repeatedly, you might have noticed they won't crack again immediately. Scientists call this the refractory period, and it can last anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes before the joint is ready to make noise again. So if you're someone who loves cracking your knuckles, you'll have to wait a little while before the next satisfying pop. Not all joint noises come from bubbles, though. Sometimes the sounds are caused by tendons or ligaments, the tough, stretchy bands that hold your joints together, shifting over bones as you move. Imagine a guitar string being plucked. When a tendon snaps over a bony ridge, it can make a soft clicking or snapping noise. This often happens when you've been sitting still for a while, like after a long car ride or a movie. Your muscles and tendons tighten up, and when you finally move, they release with a little sound. Then there are the deeper, crunchier noises, like the sound of walking on gravel that some people hear in their knees when squatting or climbing stairs. This is often due to roughened cartilage, the smooth, rubbery tissue that cushions your joints. Over time, wear and tear can make the cartilage uneven, so instead of gliding silently, the bones make a grinding noise as they move. It's not always a sign of serious damage, especially if it doesn't hurt, but it can be a reminder that joints aren't indestructible. But what about the really loud, painful cracks? That's when things might be more serious. If a joint makes noise and hurts, it could be a sign of an injury, like a torn ligament or meniscus in the knee. Arthritis, a condition where joints become inflamed and damaged, can also cause painful cracking, especially in older adults. And sometimes, a sudden pop in a joint, like the shoulder or hip, might mean something has slipped out of place, even if just for a second. For years, people believed that cracking your knuckles would give you arthritis, but science has debunked that myth. Multiple studies have followed habitual knuckle crackers for decades and found they're no more likely to develop arthritis than anyone else. One doctor even cracked the knuckles on one hand for 60 years, while leaving the other hand alone, and found no difference in arthritis between the two. That said, if you force a joint to crack too hard or too often, you might stretch out the ligaments over time, making the joint feel loose or unstable. So while the occasional pop is harmless, it's probably best not to make it a daily habit. Ever notice that some people's joints crack constantly, while others can't crack them at all? It all comes down to anatomy, the shape of your joints, how tight your ligaments are, and even how much synovial fluid you have can affect whether you're a frequent popper or not. Some researchers think genetics might play a role, so if your parents or siblings have nosy joints, you might too. There's also evidence that people with more flexible joints, like those who are double-jointed, tend to crack more often simply because their joints move in ways that create more opportunities for bubbles to form. At the end of the day, most joint noises are just part of how your body works. They're not a sign of danger, and they don't mean your bones are breaking down. But if your joints start hurting, swelling, or locking up when they crack, that's your body's way of saying something might be wrong. In those cases, it's worth checking with a doctor to make sure everything's okay. So the next time you stretch and hear that familiar pop, you'll know it's just gases rushing around in your joints, or maybe a tendon sliding over bone. It's one of those strange, everyday mysteries of the human body, something that sounds alarming but is usually completely harmless. And who knows, maybe understanding the science behind it will make the sound a little less weird and a little more fascinating. After all, your body is full of surprises, And sometimes, those surprises come with sound effects.
Hey there, if you're enjoying this video and appreciate the effort behind it, don't forget to like this video. It really helps the channel grow, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss an update. Oh, and one more thing, share this video with your friends. Spread the love and support. Alright, now let's get back to the video. Let me know if you want any tweaks.